What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Gamers for Life podcast. We're each and every Friday, Saturday, or Sunday discussing all things games. I'm one of your hosts, Jarrell. With me is my hot sauce connoisseur, Arthur Thomas. What's going on, bud?
Not much. That's me finding out if any of you are in the live by a Amish grocery store, go there. They got fucking hot sauces for like 50 cents, or at least mine do.
Is this a local? So I'm not hip on the Amish grocery stores. Which stores are typically Amish, or was it more of just kind of like a local store that happens to be in an Amish area?
Little bit of A and B. So there's like, like we all know chain grocery stores like I'll say Kroger's, like fucking Safeways and Starbucks and shit. But depending on the size or density or like production of some Amish communities, they'll have like not like entirely their own quote unquote grocery store, but like a local mom and pop grocery store where it's like, how when you go to like, or talk about this, something I've learned since moving to a prominently white area, instead of like having entire like entire just straight up a Mexican grocery store, now it's like themed to an aisle. It's like picture like a local non-branded grocery store, but like two-thirds or like a third of the store is just like shit the Amish sells. Or it's like ran by something like that. Um, I've never physically gotten there. I have been gifted about over the past year or so. I've been gifted about probably probably 2 dozen hot sauces and various things from the Amish grocery store. I tell you this, man, it's good. It's cheap. They're all right with me. Shit, like
I didn't know they were into hot sauces because I know they have like mass restrictions on stuff. They're like, no, we're good on hot sauce.
I the person that bought it for me, I said the exact same thing. But I guess I was thinking of the Mormons. I know Mormons and Jehovah's Witness avoid stimulants of all kind, like caffeine, sugar, meth, the usual stuff. Um, but so I don't know if all this is like quote unquote Amish made, but it's also like Amish sold. But I still know like certain subsects, or I want to say extremities, but like dedication. I'm using words in a realm that is far beyond me. So sorry, Amish community, if I'm horribly representing you. Short version, there's an Amish grocery store that sells really fucking good hot sauces for like anywhere from 50 cents to like 250. And these aren't like chain brands. These aren't like Tapatio or Sriracha. No, it's just like, you know, Uncle Dave's melt your face hot sauce. You know what I mean?
Those are the best hot sauces, those local ones, or just
Yeah,
ones made by, local businesses or whatever. Yeah, those are the best ones.
dude, I'll say this quick rant. The Midwest has legit impressed me with its level of spice. I thought hey, you know what? Book by its cover. The only thing I knew about the Midwest was like, oh, yo, don't you know? Oh, geez. And then I move here and it's like, people just grow ghost peppers, dude. And then, like, my new favorite brand of hot sauce called Cry Baby Craig's, its flagship hot sauce is this garlic habanero. And till this day, Jarrell, I have never had a hot sauce that with this ratio of spice to flavor. Because as we all know, for hot sauce connoisseurs, the real ones, we know that there's a drop off. It's like an uncanny valley. At some point, you get a certain level of spice. You're like, this doesn't taste good. It just hurts. Or vice versa, like Cholula. No offense, Cholula tastes good, like high flavor but low spice. I mean, that's where you get into the thick of it.
Oh yeah.
But this one, I think I took a picture of it to my liquor store. My liquor store before it closed was selling that brand of Crybaby Craig's hot sauce. And I was like, oh my, like I bought one bottle of it. I was like, this is one of the best hot sauces I've ever had, period, ever. Sorry, Tapatio, just real shit, like to my surprise. And then they're closing. I'm like, oh shit. So I bought up all like 12 other bottles. And it was just like I said, I put on everything, dude. Like I said, because I've never had it is legit spicy. Like it's not gonna like burn your face like a challenge, but you're like, but it's definitely spicy in the Tapatio, spicy in the sriracha. It is like spicy. It's garlic habanero, but just tastes so good. And then the other thing too that kind of impressed me, like, oh shit, okay, oh okay, you're not just the milk chugging hockey players I thought you were in movies, Midwesterners. No, like I've had jalapenos ever since I moved out here. It's kind of pissing me off how good these jalapenos are. Like you don't like, to be born and raised in a Mexican household or around Mexican culture in Mexican grocery stores, and then go to a Hy-Vee, which is a Midwest grocery store brand. Caitlin Clark, when she was, we're doing the Iowa run, where they eventually won the Women's March Madness, where Caitlin Clark eventually went number 22, went on to be drafted by the Indiana Fever and be the kind of quote unquote poster child for the WNBA. Their big search, she was like, because she's from Iowa, Hy-Vee, big grocery store chain in Iowa and throughout the Midwest, locked her down early. So I just remember going to Hy-Vee, seeing posters of Caitlin Clark everywhere, and Hy-Vee has this sweet and spicy jar. They have like three types of jars. It's the purple one. So if any of you are traveling or flying through the Midwest, or you're listening in the Midwest, you know what I'm talking about. You don't know what I'm talking about. Whatever. If you ever find yourself in a Hy-Vee, dude, these purple, it's a sweet and spicy, not they're hot, not they're mild, it's a sweet and spicy jars. Dude, Drill, I'm not even joking. I can eat that shit. I can eat the whole jar in one fucking sitting, no go. It's so goddamn good. It goes in like a jalapeno and goes down sweet, but not like a Chinese food way of like sweet and spicy, because peppers from different parts of the world are just, they just hit different, because just you know they're just grown differently. The fauna from different continents are different. So in sweet spicy, a Chinese food place, and sweet spicy for the jalapeno is very different. I don't know. Like I said, Joe, it's in it, at first, totally honest, it was kind of infuriating of how good this fucking jalapeno from an Iowa grocery store chain was. I was like, bro, it's, what I mean. I can't think it's one to one. I can't imagine. I can't picture the experience. It's like going to, like, I don't know, fucking Idaho, and or like Vermont, and just having some of like the best soul food you've ever had by some guy named Harold, and you're just like, fuck, dude, I'm impressed and equally annoyed and confused how this shit's so good. You know what I mean?
I remember you told me a story similar to that where I forgot where you were. I don't know if you were in Oregon or something, but
Yeah.
you were like it looked like this like hipster place, and there was like this like I don't know if it was like a peanut butter and jelly toast or whatever thing that you ordered, and you were like, it was one of the best things I've ever ate.
I was in hipster Mecca. I was not in Oregon. I was in Silver Lake. I was in
Mm.
Silver Lake, California. Most hipstery breakfast diner place you can be. I swear to God, to this day, Drill, you can take 20 photos from inside that restaurant and you'll never fucking guess what the theme is. You can't tell if it's a steakhouse. You couldn't tell if it was a fucking bar. You couldn't tell what the fuck it was. There was like fucking like Rush Hour, like the end of Rush Hour 1, giant Chinese fucking scrolls. And like, hi, so you want waffles? What the fuck? You know what I mean? You're just like, what are we doing here? And then it was what it was an Elvis Presley, which is famously, famously, what it is. It's a French toast, like PB&J style sandwich. But I've never had to that degree, and just like, dude, this is, and I was, and by the way, I was with other like poor friends, except for the one guy that took us there. So when you take like a bunch of poor people to Silver Lake, we're like going to be like, yeah, sure, bring on the overpriced small serving fancy bullshit. We're gonna hear the story of where the bread came from, whatever. We're your friend. It's your birthday. We'll fucking put up with it. And then me and my fellow low credit affiliate were just like, what the fuck, dude? It's like the best breakfast I've ever fucking had. so
That's
so yeah.
hilarious.
So yeah, it's that, yeah, not one the what, not one the what, but yeah, like I said, buying those Hy-Vee jalapenos, and I'm just like, I immediately texted all my friends back home, like, motherfucker, dude, these are the best jalapenos I've ever fucking had.
Nice. I know for hot sauces, well, recently, I don't know if it's considered technically a hot sauce, but Texas Pete, or like the hot sauces like that, I've been a huge fan of. Just those chilies with like the sauce within them. Sold in the bottle like that. I'm all about it. And then the last hot sauce I had. It's funny. It was actually like one like a small Christmas present or whatever, like a stocking stuffer. It was this truffle hot sauce. It was literally called truffle. Surprisingly really good. Surprisingly really good. Um, but yeah, man, glad you're getting some exposure to the different hot sauces out there. Shout out to the Amish.
One, yeah. One last thing on this food rant of the Midwest thing before we get into it. This sort of is a gaming podcast, not What the fuck is Arthur eating this week podcast. Um, dude, I think I've like fallen to like my new favorite like meat that brats. I've had hot dogs. I've had breakfast sausages. Never really had brats. Never really had brats back home. I move out here, like I said, to the Midwest. Apparently, it's like a staple out here, and like you can get a brat for $1. You could get you can get deals. You could get deals. So many. It's like 12 for 12. So bought a bunch. Have a bunch of my bought a bunch like 2 weeks ago. Have them in my freezer. Been slowly defrosting them two at a time. Fuck, dude. I love brats. Like you just pop in the oven 400, 10 minutes, then flip them 10 minutes again. You're guaranteed to have like some of the best hot dogs of, that week, that month until you have your next one. That's what I had today for lunch. I had brats doused in just trying them out, two of the different hot sauces that I was gifted recently. So yeah, so today my lunch was spicy Italian brats doused in spicy scorpion barbecue sauce. Best lunch I've had in weeks, man.
Nice.
I've been
You never had any brats at Doghouse when we go to Doghouse back in the day?
a little bit. You know what? Yeah, I guess I never really considered them brats. Now I think about it.
Because I know like you have to specifically like choose like the brats as far as for the meat. But I was gonna ask you, how do you feel that they compare to the brats you've been having?
Oh, dude, like I said, Midwest is known for three things, man: meat, beer, and cheese. And then you three particular order on any given football Sunday, man. So
Nice,
I've been eating
nice, pretty
good.
solid.
I've been eating good since I moved out here.
That's good,
Uh,
man. Get some
uh,
caramelized onions on there. Boom.
oh, dude, I sent you that. Yeah, I sent you that picture, man.
Mm-hmm.
I cooked up brat. I cooked up Midwest brat. But it was like an LA street cart style. Like I sent you the picture because it was a Midwest brat, but with the cooked peppers and the cooked onions and so I was like, old
That's
habits
how you
die
do
hard,
it.
man. Old habits die hard, man. Like I said, LA street cart toppings with Midwest brat style meat. Ah, chef's fucking kiss, dude.
Toasted Hawaiian bread. Oh man, that make me hungry.
It was I didn't have it on toasted Hawaiian bread when I made it, but what I did do is I steamed the buns over the caramelized onions. So I was cooking the onions, and over the onions I put the buns and split them. So they had like a little essence of the onion, and the steam that was coming up from the onion. This is what didn't toast the buns, but loosened them so they're not, because these are just store-bought buns, loosened them so they weren't that stiff, fresh out the bag crispness. So they were not crispy but still soft, and absorbed all the hot sauce and sweat from the onions and bell peppers.
Very nice, very nice.
Oh yeah, I
Well,
get down in the kitchen now again.
hey man, I always knew. So, what's going on, everybody? Well, if you're watching this, hello. As we mentioned, this is a gaming podcast. We just mentioned other things, and that's why we have timestamps in the description, so you can choose the gaming stuff unless you just want to watch the whole thing. But Arthur also does the streaming on our YouTube channel for the Gamers Live podcast at G4L Podcast. So be sure to go there, check that out, subscribe, like the videos so they go around the world. So definitely would appreciate that. Here at the Games Live Podcast, we read the news while you can watch or listen to what you choose. Clicking on once again, the links to the time codes within the description of the episodes. You can go to what you want, or you can just hang out with us here at the Gamers for Life podcast. A couple of things have happened these past 2 weeks, because we had a bye week last week, just because life stuff. As you know, Church isn't with us as of yet. I think he's stuck inside Marvel Rivals, because last time we checked his level, you're like, oh shit, he's like level 33.
No, yeah, we thought we've been putting in time and work to Rivals. We are like, because we are talking about like, man, we haven't played this many games in a while, and Church is like 13 levels above us. Oh, okay, well, we found where he's been lost in the Matrix.
Yeah. I was like, damn, where's Church? I was like, oh, okay. Can't even be mad at that. But yeah, a few things happened. I know there's a little bit of old news, but just to backtrack, there's the Xbox Direct that happened recently. One of the big standouts, as you can see behind me, is Doom Dark Ages, which is coming out this year. I want to say it's May 15th, if I'm not mistaken. Gosh darn, that game looks beautiful. Like so good. It definitely has a more of an expansive environment. Looks like there's a couple of like flying vehicles or something that you can use. Just the weapons are crazy. Um,
Dragons. They're called dragons.
the dragons. Oh, okay. I just saw something flying. I was like, oh, is that so? It's like a mechanical thing or whatever. But
I know I feel like sometimes we're old heads, but it's like, oh, these kids that they're hoverboards, they're called dragons, Grandpa.
but yeah, the game looks amazing, man. Pretty crazy. One thing that they did say, for those of you who are some PC guys, or maybe you're looking to upgrade your video card, Doom: The Dark Ages for PC, at least it also will be March 15th. Really?
Wait, May. I
Oh,
may have
okay. I was about to say,
I
yo,
put
that's
something in,
crazy.
I
That's
put
around the
something in
corner.
chat, and I forgot how calendars work. May 5th, May 15th.
Oh, okay, right on. Okay. So for those of you who are looking to upgrade your video card or whatnot, just so you have just enough to play Doom, because that's kind of how the most of the PC guys do it these days. Just upgrade, just where you can play pretty much everything. This is going to have also hardware ray tracing, hardware required ray tracing. So like Indiana Jones, you can't, unfortunately, you can't really use an old school graphics card like the GTX 6060 Super. The entire GTX line you can't really use. No hardware ray tracing. Some old RX cards support ray tracing and whatnot, and I actually had to cop a 2060 Super, which has ray tracing, so I was able to play Indiana Jones and a few other games. So it seems like that's going to be the top. That's going to be the standard for a lot of these newer games, having hardware ray tracing. But man, it looks good. Have you had the chance to check out the video, the gameplay for Doom Dark Ages?
I did. I definitely I did. The I watched the whole Xbox Direct. I'll get into a little bit more towards my overall thoughts, but for Doom the Dark Ages, yeah, definitely definitely reminded. I think a lot of people, including myself, the Xbox has some heavy hitters, like literally like fucking punch, like have some weight behind their punch, because a lot of Xbox's games over the past few years just felt like hey, you want to play a seven that you won't pay for, have Game Pass. You'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it a little bit more because you wouldn't have paid for it directly, and that's what Game Pass has felt like for the past couple of years. Even Avowed, when it was first launched, it felt like, oh, cool. You swing a sword, but no one reacts to you swinging your sword. There was no oomph behind your punches. And then fucking, drunk uncle strength, Doom just shows up and it's like, I'm gonna knock the shit out of everything that fucking moves. And there's gonna be heavy goddamn metal playing behind it the entire fucking time. You're like, oh yeah, let's fucking go. Like it just remind you like, oh yeah, one, Doom's here, two, it's not here to fuck around. Three, it's on Xbox day one fucking Game Pass. So definite big win, definite big win from that. Um, yeah, everything about it looks sick. Whole new mechanic is a shield thing. First Doom game where they even introduced a shield, and this isn't your grandma shield. No, this is kill demons, fuck you, fuck around, find out shield. So, adding dragons to the game is just like a whole new fucking mechanic. So games, there's games that do sequels, like let's do a copy and paste, just make the world bigger, and some people are totally fine with that. Like, yeah, cool, give me the last game but more to do in it. Because I can't think of a game offhand, but we've both played games like we both had fun this game, we just wish there was more to do. We know that, like, it's not the worst complaint, but it's a noticeable complaint. And there are some sequels that take a previous game, um and then just add so much more into it, which is clearly what this game is doing. I can't speak to the size of it because things like playtime hasn't been released yet, so you don't know if it's quote unquote larger, but it's definitely quote unquote more to do. And with everything we've seen, again, just it's like, holy shit, I'm back. Like, yeah, cool. Like, hey, Stardew Valley, nothing wrong with that game. Animal Crossing, you're cool, but fuck it, Doom's back. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it looks great. I'm definitely excited for it. And I will say, even though it's funny, I thought I canceled the Game Pass, and then I got charged for another $15, and part of me was pissed, and then the other part of me was like, well, might as well download No Man's Sky. Like, like I was just like, well, there are still some games on that that are worth playing, or maybe I'll download Indiana Jones and play more of that, it'll revive my
Yeah.
save from when I had it. So, eventually I'll probably end up just re-upping Game Pass just for these newer games that I don't want to spend $60 on. I can just pay $15 and, just play a couple of them before I stop. So they still got me with that, god damn it. But yeah, I mean, the game's great. So really curious about that. That's kind of one of the biggest things for me, really, that stuck out. I know the Ninja Gaiden 2,
Remake.
yeah, remake, and then I think 4 was announced, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The other thing for me that I think I liked that we saw was more of South to Midnight. Um, that game looks sick. A lot of people are mixed on the art style because that's what I'm calling it. It's a fucking art style. It's clearly, clearly a fucking art style. And
Yeah.
people are like, oh,
Are
the
people
frames are.
saying otherwise?
People are saying, oh, the frames are dropping. I'm like, dude, it's like a stop motion hybrid. It's like the old school clip. We knew since day one, since their very first announcement trailer, it was like a claymation ish style game when they had the old school dude, playing the banjo down in the bayou. You're like, oh shit, we got like a claymation kind of like game. So people are like, what the fuck, dude? This game's gonna have like 12 frames per second. And they said, one, it's an art style, and two, guess what? If you crying little fucking bitches, you can turn that setting off. They told you that in the fucking thing. So people are like, oh, another Xbox game would drop frames. I'm like, one, it's are you one, if you have an IQ over 5, hi, welcome to the rest of the fucking world. You can realize it's an art style, which I kind of like. And then two, they told you you could switch it off. So that game looks cool. Plus I do like, where here in modern gaming, like I said it, I've talked about it. We're seeing this pattern of like quote unquote Eastern style games and Eastern centric games having a lot of wins under their belt, whereas a lot of quote unquote Western style games are just failing or missing the mark or getting shut down or fucking flopping. It is cool to see a game about American folklore in the South. And if any of you have been to the South, there's absolutely amazing fucking folklore that came out of that. The word zombie itself came from the fucking South. It came from Louisiana. You can put a pinpoint in the map in the world where all things you know of zombie came from there. So again, like everything we know of zombies, every pop culture reference to zombies in the history of our species wouldn't have come from wouldn't have existed if it wasn't for um the stories down there. I don't, and it just reminded me of, because Jill, when you were in school and you're a kid, you kind of like do history reports or you gotta like learn about American folklore. So I remember, I forget what boss they showed. I forget his name, but when they showed that boss, I was like, oh, I've heard that thing, I've heard that guy. You know what I mean? It's like Fallout 76. When Fallout 76 went to Appalachia, what was their hints of in one of their Halloween trailers? The Wendigo. You know what I mean? There's just a ton of stuff in different Americana folklore, and to see the bayou in the south, and the catfish, and the voodoo doctor, all that kind of taking a main stage, um in that, with the unique art style that I liked and a combat system I think is going to hold up. It did look cool. It did look cool. It looked like they have another good original game under a belt, because something that you and I talk about a lot is we do like to see new IPs. um Especially, I don't know if this game is in the category of indie. It definitely has indie vibes. But like I don't know if it's like it could be categorically called indie, but it definitely doesn't give off like quote unquote Ubisoft, EA, AAA vibes. So a new IP with a cool folklore backing, with a cool art style, that's going to be on Game Pass, with a cool combat system. That's right up my alley.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm interested. I'm interested in the game. I think the story is pretty cool. The voice acting seems really good too. So I was happy to see that. I will say I do think, while I think some, while a lot of people are criticizing the frame rate and stuff, I think to a point there is some justification to it though, because I can see that potentially being a distraction for everything else, and I know when it comes to some of those features that can be turned off, which I think is good. But as far as for just frame rate smoothness in general, without like the artistic, feature or whatever on there, I think it is important for that to be smooth to a degree. Much different versus like the Wallace and Gromit type stuff, the claymation stuff. So But yeah, I mean, I do appreciate its willingness to, kind of dive into this, this lore, this type of area and stuff like that, and have a story around these characters. I think it's pretty cool. I know Church is a huge advocate for this game. He's been talking about it ever since it was a thing that it was announced. So, yeah, and on my honeymoon trip, I was in Louisiana, and some of the best food in the world, definitely. Charbroiled oysters at Drago's, my God, you know what I mean? Like, and that's just like this one particular dish. There's like mad dishes that are just insane as far as flavor goes. So, yeah, yeah, and then definitely, yeah, and then the interesting thing too about Louisiana, at least for me, as far as when I was there, there is an interesting, like, I shouldn't say weird, but there's an interesting vibe to it, in the air, right? Like everyone was really nice that we ran into when it comes to like local people or whatever. I remember we had to get on the tram or whatever, get from point A to point B, and we're like, come on, baby, get on, baby. You know what I mean? Like some of the drivers are pretty wild, but
Everyone's your aunt.
yeah, exactly. But there's an interesting vibe out there. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's a a dark history, of the state, but there's an interesting vibe out there. So for South of Midnight, kind of having this like fantasy type of like stuff within it, like it definitely molds together really well from a genre perspective. But I guess to dial it back, frame rate is important. Frame rate is important too, as far as like to make sure that it's not going to be a distraction for the overall story, because you know aside from like epilepsy, like people just like trying to play a game, like I would love to play this but my eyes hurt, you know what I mean? So I hope that I just don't want there to be any technical issues when it comes out, because that can obviously be it could be a make or break for them, and I don't want them to be in a make or break situation. Not everybody's No Man's Sky, where they have the budget to fix a game, 5 years or whatever after it came out. Now the game's amazing, well, it wasn't when it first came out. Thank God they had money, you know what I mean? So, excuse me, that's kind of my thing there. Was there anything else on the direct that you were like, yo, let's do this, or this was exciting?
I didn't get I didn't get more of my State of Decay 3. Like I said, that's just my pin wing to drop right now. I didn't get more State of Decay 3. I did not. The two games I want, I'm not hearing more on. I'm not hearing more on State of Decay 3, and not hearing more on 33 Immortals. Remember, 33 Immortals is a top down roguelike game where it could be you and up to 32 other people. I want to know more on that. That's a huge. I've never played a game. I've never played a roguelike with 30 plus other people. The only game I've ever played with 30 plus other people ever was Battlefield. So let me scratch that. Very much correct that. Battlefield 1. Or but yeah, but yeah. So seeing more South of the Night was cool. I know there was a fourth game they showed, because remember there was four boxes. I kind of forget what the fourth box was. It was it was fuck, what was it? It was Doom. It was South of Midnight. It was I forget what was talking about.
Expedition 33.
Oh yeah, Expedition 33. Um, that looks okay. That's a game that
Mm.
looks okay, good. That doesn't look bad. It looks like a game that may be doomed to be forgotten. It just, I like nothing against it. It just, I can't put my finger on it. It just, nothing stood out. Like, again, we're talking about Doom. One stands out about Doom. Yes, Doom has a massive franchise behind it. South of Midnight, a lot of new art style, new storyline. You know what I mean? Has a lot of things to make it stand out. Expedition 33 can be amazing. I feel like it may get forgotten. I forgot it. They even showed it. I forget what the fourth game was they showed about. All I know is it didn't show what I wanted.
That
State of
reminds me
Decay
of
3.
that reminds me of that Flintlock game. Remember when there was like a bunch of games that are kind of, and then the game came
Oh,
out and we are like, this isn't very good.
I
It's
played
just
that
kinda-
game. I
yeah.
played that game day one, dude. Flintlock, I will say this now. Flintlock, I think, holds a sad record for having this most abysmal, smallest gun in the history of modern gaming. Like I told you, I thought that was my rapier sword. I thought it was my fucking fencing weapon. Like that's your gun. And I'm like, A fucking blow dart? Like it was like the game is called Flintlock. Well, give me my fucking blunderbuss. Give me my kaboom. You know what I mean? Give me my over the top gunpowder magic-y bullshit. So somehow in a world where we have magic, we have to have the smallest fucking barrel that you can clean with a goddamn toothpick. It was just so bad. I couldn't get past it. I couldn't look past it. Every time she held up her weapon, I'm like, it's not a sword, it's a gun. It's a gun. It's a gun. It's a fucking bullshit gun. One thing I'll last end on as a random question idea that popped in my head, as they tend to do. You know, be cool in this day and age of like man versus machine, AI is crashing the stock markets. You know, AI is scary. AI is taking our jobs. You know, be cool if we have a movie or a game of like the OG man versus machine, John Henry, you know, the American folklore of the guy that was trying to outpace the quote unquote railroad, you know, the automatic spike railroad machine, John Henry, swing that hammer, John. I don't know. I just in this modern world of AI, on this modern world of AI, I'm just like, man, so we need to bring back the OG story. They're just like the OG story of man versus machine, John Henry, um, you know,
Yeah, that's
swinging his
not
hammer.
iRobot with Will Smith saying, trying to say a funny tagline every 25 minutes.
Yeah. I'm tell yeah, side tangent. I feel like it's not a hot take. I feel like quipping ruined ruined a lot of modern movies. But yeah, I don't know why. Just seeing the folklore of the South and the Bayou specifically come to life in South of Midnight, I just thought of like, man, you know what? You know what folk story I feel like a lot of kids don't know about that they should know about that I want to see in a movie or just something in anime short special. Yeah, John Henry. Let's get him back.
Interesting.
You know his story, right?
Vaguely. I mean,
Oh,
I just I don't remember a whole lot,
oh.
but
Sure
yeah,
version. It's from the old west. It's from the old west, and they're laying railroad tracks everywhere. And this big brooding black guy was like so strong that some roller coaster railroad tycoon guy invented a automatic railroad spiking machine that was going to put people out of work. But no, because John Henry's so big, he put the machine to the test. Spoiler, ended up winning. He just became American folklore. It's a good story.
interesting.
Like
You
I
know
said,
what?
the OG man versus machine.
Hmm. And then speaking of man versus machine, it seems like Phil Spencer will not be supporting his own machines for Xbox. His Game Pass is continuously, or the Xbox games are continuously being sold off and available for other consoles. And there seems to be a decline in the hardware sales for Xbox. So there was a oh, I remember John Air. It's been a while since I've looked up anything, haven't had a conversation about it. After looking it up here, but as far as for kind of diving into Xbox here, uh, it looks like there's a decline, and it's funny too. I love Arthur when we have these conversations that are relevant and that everyone else is talking about, and we're not just always the old head gamers that are just talking about stuff like, man, I remember when games were $60 and now they're $70. Brr, you know what I mean? Like, we were just talking about the as far as them kind of under like them devaluing their own console, and sure enough, there's a report shows up on Video Games Chronicles saying that the Xbox revenue fell 70% in Q2. Hardware sales dropped to 29%, dropped down 29%. So it's just. And Phil Spencer was just on Destin's channel. He had an interview with Destin, kind of what shot up over the internet. Talking about as far as like, hey, get used to playing Xbox games on PlayStation 5. Get used to playing those games, on other consoles and whatnot. He just congratulated, Nintendo for Xbox Game Pass to be available for Switch 2. Right? So it's like, hurrah, yay, that's cool. Hardware sales dropped 29%.
As far as I'm concerned, Phil Spencer should just rent the aircraft carrier and get like mission accomplished. Like that's their. Is that not their goal when they tell the world this is an Xbox, your cat's an Xbox? Hey guys, we're seeing a drop in hardware sales. Mission fucking accomplished. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when people are like, "Oh, Xbox is fucking up," I'm like, it's kind of their goal. Like,
I mean, well, the funny thing too is on the other side of the spectrum is then he talks about how, like, oh no, like, yeah, you still want to you don't want to choose Xbox for hardware, you know, or like, oh, we're gonna still show
fuck
some
off.
revel,
Sorry.
you know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, you can't like you can't say both things now because we're not gonna believe you on the other side, you know, like. And it's funny because I was looking into the comments on that Dustin video, you know, and some people were just like, man, you guys are just here to be negative, blah blah blah. But then like some people had valid points. They're just like, they don't respect Xbox as like a brand anymore. You know, it's like it's one thing to have something be, you know, cross compatible or whatever the case may be, but it's another to just completely ignore everything that made Xbox and then just to say, well, this is just what we're doing now. You know, it's just like why do people have consoles in their house when they can have another option to buy another console? Like that's still
Why should they
makes
have your console in their house?
right.
You're telling us we don't have to.
Right, exactly. You know, and yeah. So I just found that to be completely baffling. Still that, and I understand their model. You know what I mean, and I understand why he's like, no, yeah, this is what we're gonna do. You know, we're gonna continue to do it. Like that's great, but don't talk to me about buying your console. Like
No,
that shouldn't be a thing anymore. You know, and I remember we were talking in the chats, you know, and Church was bringing up a point as far as like, hey, they should have like a high powered console, you know, and maybe they, excuse me, maybe they will, but like consoles are not cheap anymore. You know what I mean? Like that was the biggest argument and understandable between the console and the PC folks when it was like, oh, should I pay $1,000 for a PC or should I just pay $400 for a console and it looks great and it plays great, it works everything on my television or whatever, and I don't have to worry about like, oh man, will this game support my console? You know, like that was the argument for console owners, and I understood it.
still is.
Right? To a degree, it is. You know what I mean? I say to a degree because the price of a console is the price of a PC building it. If you pay the exact same amount of money, you can have a more powerful PC. You know, but yeah, as far as for the try I lost my point here. But as far as for the when it comes to, you know, now, you know, the price of the consoles have gone down, right? And then we have the PS5 Pro example. As far as like you're paying $700 for what compared to the PlayStation 5, right? There's the CPU is more powerful, but when you're looking at it, those initial comparisons are really embarrassing. It's like, okay, like we have significantly plateaued. You know what I mean? Like I know they made an adjustment now as far as for some of the games looking a lot nicer on PS5 Pro. And we're not sure how long that'll be until they say, hey, PS6 coming out, you know, and these prices aren't getting any cheaper. You know what I mean? That's another thing with PC is that these you can have a more powerful console than the PS5 Pro, and those parts do get cheaper over time. And it seems like that's not really becoming a thing for console right now, you know. So it's really interesting seeing this notion of, you know, where Xbox they right now they're just selling all their stuff, you know, they're having their stuff available and everything else, which is great, right? But when it comes to the consoles, like what are they going to do with that? Are they going to do like a high powered console for people to buy? Like, let me ask you, Arthur, would you, if they announced a console like a PS5 Pro, but way more powerful? So you actually see, you know, faster frames, fast, like non-existent load times for like, you know, for kind of the promise of everything. Cause like the biggest issue now, Arthur, is that, you know, when it came to consoles, and I think this is why my brain died 2 minutes ago. The thing with consoles is that originally when people had games and they put them in and played them, they loaded the same, they started the same, they played the same. But not all games do that anymore because certain studios are using different technologies and games are a lot slower in some games, like Starfield, for example, or Grand Theft Auto or whatever. Then people end up fixing things, and then games run differently too. So, you know, imagine an Xbox console where it's like they're high powered gaming console. It's not like a Series X. It's like above that,
An
you know.
actual step up. So right now, if the question is, would I buy it? Would I trade in my Xbox to upgrade to the new console? No, I'm not the best litmus test. Because guess what? I'm now a PC player. So, so it's like unless the Xbox is more powerful than a RTX 4070 Ti Super, maybe no. But until then, Arthur spent that big boy money on some big boy toys. Um,
Yeah.
Now if I was a current, I wasn't a PC gamer, and I only had my Xbox and PS5, and they released it, I don't know, I still wouldn't buy it because my games work, you know what I mean? But again, I'm not the biggest limit test. I don't need the coolest car in the garage. I need my car to get me from A to B. I am the humble gamer. I am not the whale. I am not the demographic. I'm just, hey, do my games look fine? Yeah. Did they play well? Yeah. Cool. I'll upgrade later when I fucking feel like it. And here's the thing too. Even if tomorrow Xbox announces the newest fucking most powerful console, then are they gonna stop their campaign? Are they gonna stop the marketing campaign that says everything's an Xbox? Because if not, they're shooting themselves in the foot. They have to like either because you can't have both. You can't have one campaign that says buy the newest most powerful console. Hypothetically speaking, we know nothing about this. It's like they can't have one campaign saying buy the most expensive fucking piece of console gaming hardware. Oh, and also everything's an Xbox. Well, I have a phone, so I'll play Doom: The Dark Ages on that with a backbone. I'm okay. Thanks. Bye, Phil. So I mean, like you can't. It's like if they do this, they have to immediately stop that campaign that says buy everything's an Xbox. Your fridge is an Xbox. Your cat's an Xbox. Cool, cool. How much frame does my cat's asshole have? I don't fucking know. Um, but yeah, I will say this though. One semi win about Xbox software games coming to PS5. I'm looking forward to the Gran Turismo heads playing Forza Horizon 5. I am looking to for Gran Turismo players on PlayStation to play Forza Horizon 5, play the opening of the game where just like, oh shit, we're in this. Blah, 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 blah. The music cuts, the music starts, you're in a fucking rally. I still say I've never played a racing game, even arguably drill, even arguably since the PS2 prime era of Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, including those top tier peak games. I've never played a racing game in my life that got me hooked from the very start, more than Forza Horizon 5. So I'm looking forward to that game coming to PlayStation because, like we said, Joe, Gran Turismo, notorious on PlayStation, Gran Turismo also notorious for bullshit microtransactions. And
Mm-hmm.
I would say I would say the car gaming community of Forza Horizon is a lot better than that at Gran Turismo. But I'd also say that only because the gaming's ecosystem sets it up to be better.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think too. Like, it's I guess as far as like the positive side. I mean, I'm happy to play Halo on, you know, Halo on a PlayStation 5 Pro. Like that's great. Thanks Xbox. I appreciate it. You know,
Dude, if those Halo sound effects come from my controller, and I hear the little needler, or like
the sword there. That's
the energy sword,
yeah.
or the grunt confetti headshot skull, pop, yay! If I hear that coming from my controller, it's gonna be so good.
Oh yeah.
Um, I have a question with all this like dropping again. When I see when you know I read stories of like, oh hey, they're losing hardware sales. Again, I'm not joking when I say mission accomplished. That's their marketing campaign. Their marketing campaign is to tell you you don't have to buy an Xbox. And shocker, people aren't. Huh. And so, but I have a question with with that $69 billion purchase of Activision and Blizzard, Activision Blizzard. Do you think Xbox is going to start to pay attention to these Blizzard killers? The fact that Rivals is killing Overwatch and that Path of Exile 2 is killing Diablo. Do you think at some point Xbox is going to demand to Blizzard? Do you think Xbox is going to ask for the Blizzard end of things to step the fuck up? Because Activision has Call of Duty. They can ride Call of Duty into the fucking sunset, but the Blizzard half of that trend, that Blizzard half of that fucking deal is shitting the fucking bed right now.
Yeah, man. I think definitely. I'm glad you brought this up. Just to kind of revisit where they're at with that, right? Because we have to remember when it comes to the Call of Duty stuff, they signed up. They had contracts with like everybody. You know what I mean? Like everybody and their mother. Like they had 10-year contracts as far as to not have it not available or whatever the case may be. So, that is a reduction in like revenue that they would just earn by themselves, right? So they're getting a sliver of the piece of the pie. Um, so that is something to be noted, and especially when it comes to these other competitors, right? That kind of go against, these other things that used to be on Blizzard, or that were, the main things on Blizzard, but now their competitors seem like they're doing a better job. Path of Exile is incredible. Destin was like, buy it. You know what I mean? Like that was like his tag on his video. Fucking Rivals, man. I've never, I've never played a free to play game like this before. You know what I mean? And really, really enjoyed it. I've played Fortnite a little bit, you know what I mean? But it's gotta leave Fortnite to the kids because just the kids can have fun with that, But Rivals, like, this is so fun, and the community is so fun. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was really nervous, like, connecting with like people that never played before. But like, oh, this guy's pretty cool, actually. You know what I mean? Like, I don't remember that being a thing, like, for a lot, like, almost ever. You know what I mean? Like, as a gamer playing online, like, if you didn't coop with your friends, like, God help you, but yeah, the community is cool, on Rivals. Like they'll just like, especially the people that like want to play the game right. Oh, okay, I'll be tank since we don't have any tanks, or let me do a healer thing, or okay, well let me do DPS. So it's just like it's people that give a shit about like that particular like how the game should be played. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's like the best fun. Like I forgot to mention too. We had what was it, like 7 games where we won.
We had a 7 game win streak, and I only died in half of them. um I still, yeah. So lately, so another positive mark to Rivals, we've all discovered their in-game chat is really good quality. It's really, really good quality. Now you might say like, oh, all I hear is people playing their music. That's not on Rivals. That's on people not me and their fucking mic. But for the people that are actually just talking and chatting, like again, when I play PS5 where I play Rivals, I don't wear a headset, and you guys sound exactly the same coming from my controller speaker, whether we're on Discord, the PlayStation Party, or the in-game chat for Rivals. It's really cool. Um, and so a little context. I'm not sure if anyone cut the last stream. We've been playing off of in-game chat. One, just so it's a little easier when one of our buddies joins that only has Discord. Discord doesn't get picked up on stream, but also allows us to actually talk to other people. And like Jarrell said, we've actually been talking to like more and more people have been using their mic. I will
Yeah,
say, by the way, if you're listening to this, you don't hear other people. It's because I think it's actually a good decision that everyone's default setting is to have voice chat off. That's a good default setting. You can turn it off. If you can turn it back on if you want to, you don't have to. A lot of us old heads back from the 360 days, Jarrell's like, no, no, I'm gonna keep that shit off. Rightfully so. At least started turning on. I still love real quick, Drill, how you almost ruined that one dude's day. We're talking like, cool, I'll go Rocket, you go Winter Soldier, and some guy's like, no, 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 no. All right, yo, Winter Soldier, it's locked in. I locked it in. Who's talking? Who's talking? I heard someone talk about Winter Soldier. Who's talking about Winter Soldier? I locked it in. Sorry, sorry, not sorry. Sorry,
that
not
was
sorry.
hilarious. Yeah, he's like, don't do that to me. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. We just like this poor dude, he sounded like he was maybe like 24, 25, younger guy. And we were talking like, yeah, I'll go Rocky. Yeah, it's really cool. And you gonna go Winter Soldier. I give you unlimited ammo. And some guy just was like, oh shit, who's talking about Winter Soldier? I locked him in. I locked him in. Fuck, who's talking? Who's talking? And then I was like, hey, what's up? It's Rocket. My homie's gonna play Punisher. I'm Rocket. Stay with me. He's like, why? I'm like, oh, stay with me because I give you limited ammo. Oh no shit. And guess what? We ended up winning the fuck out of the match too.
Yeah,
So it was
yeah.
just sick. Like, yeah, I could think that was one of our matches where I died at 0 fucking times as Rocket.
Yeah. No, yeah, man, and you make a good point as far as, as far as like with these competitors, really just kind of people gravitating over towards, towards them. Like where does that leave this purchase and the validity of that, and then as far as profits, right? Because if this becomes an increasing thing, sure maybe Microsoft potentially will will recoup, right? I think they're expecting to recoup, especially when it comes to them releasing other games to other platforms. But if that's in lieu of them buying Activision Blizzard, and they're not recouping from that by itself, like, was that a substantial purchase? You know what I mean? So yeah, I think they do have to go into third, fourth gear and shake up some shit and say, hey, we got to fix this shit. Like, I'm bringing this person in, I'm bringing this person in. This needs to be changed. I don't know what the fuck you guys are doing, but this needs to be fixed. You know, we need to increase this player base, etc. You know, and start delivering on the stuff that they basically lied to people about. I will say, just for the record, like, I'm not an Overwatch player, but I've talked to many Overwatch folks, such as yourself, Church. You know, at the end of the day, you guys agree. It's just Church is willing to kind of play a little more on that side, but he's deep in Rivals right now. You know, I mean, he's fucking 10 levels above us or whatever the case may be. That's probably why he's not on the show. He's probably playing Rivals.
He's collecting research for next week. But and here's the thing too, Jarrell. Another thing too. What's something that Blizzard's notorious for? Microtransactions. But I would argue we all saw the trailer for that Invisible Woman skin. I will not bet money against someone that says NetEase made a good fucking paycheck out of that Invisible Woman skin. You know the one I'm talking about?
I think so.
With
Let me
like
look it up.
that aka that black thong, not thong going on. Just look up Invisible Woman Malice and hit image. And tell your wife it's for the pod. It's for research. It's aka Drill. We forgot that you can even do skins like that without being flagged on YouTube. um and so and so again, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
just do.
wild.
Oh yeah, I saw the eyes. I saw the eyes like, oh, he found it. He found it. So it's like think about it. You're a gamer, Drill. Would you rather buy a fucking horse in Diablo 4 or buy that fucking skin? Mm, 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 mm. I'll tell you this, Drill. The $20 I spent in the Marvel Rivals, so I bought the premium battle pass. I've already spent more money when Rivals microtransactions than I ever have in any Diablo game.
Nice. Wow. Wow. That's pretty crazy because you've played all of them, right?
I yeah I
Or
told
the main ones, right? You know, two, three,
yeah
four, or whatever.
yeah I played ever since two. I didn't play that mobile bullshit.
Hmm.
Um yeah, like I said, I Diablo 4. I call that shit a mile away. It's like why does Diablo need a mount? What about your map that's boring that you're making me went through it faster? I call that shit a mile fucking way. And then we play Path of Exile 2. It's like I hope they don't release a mount because these maps are fun to kill your way through. It's like, oh, I'm between you and like I'm between I'm a good chunk of the map away from you, Drill. Here's the thing: either A, drop a portal, or B, yeah, I'll kill my way to you because that shit's just fun. So again, but getting back to Rivals, again, Diablo, Blizzard, notorious for microtransactions. Dude, and here's the thing too, Drill. I'm saving up the in-game currency to buy that Invisible One skin without spending money. Like I said, we're doing the challenge right now. I just finished the last challenge to get that Thor skin for free, and now Drell, that microtransaction skin for Star Lord, I'm gonna play to earn it. So that dancing lions skin for Star Lord, I'm on my way to earn it for free with all their challenges. So now, can you do that with all their skins? Like, is there a way to earn the Black Widow skin? No, but like I said, if you do the challenges, you stack up enough of the currency in the background, yeah, you can buy it. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do
Nice.
for that Invisible Woman skin that made everyone thirst online, as it did. So again, like I don't know, man. It's just funny that like, oh shit, a year like this, like think of this a year ago, Drell. Oh shit, FTC's holding up the fucking transaction. Xbox about to dominate Activision Blizzard. Oh, Xbox about to dominate. And then Path of Exile 2 and Rivals comes out, and everyone's like, Blizzard who? We talk about the weather? What the fuck are we talking about? Who are they? What games do they make? Diablo. Ah, fuck that game. Overwatch what? Overwatch boo? Okay, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? It's just funny that this time a year ago, we were like, damn, this is like the deal. Now we're like, Blizzard's fucking dead. Who gives a shit? Long live Path of Exile. Long live competition. Long live rivals. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see if they can breathe some life in some of these prior IPs, or just, obviously there's a bunch of other games under Activision technically. So see if they're actually working on those. I did want to comment a bit as far as for what you said, as far as like State of Decay, like 3 not being like talked about or anything as far as what update. I think that's kind of significant. You know what I mean? Because I mean, it's a really important. That's a game that should be mentioned. It should be updated because that is a game that people are waiting for. So I mean, I'm not really worried about Xbox because I know they're going to be fine. I think it's just funny that a lot of these opposition games to them, are really fucking popular more than their original. Or, the folks that kind of started that stuff. So
Two things we called a mile away when they bought both companies. I called it early on. I'm like, yo, Phil, you gotta get Todd Howard on lock, man. He fucking lies. He doesn't know numbers. Redfall will be a good game. No, it's not. He's fucking lying. And now, Bobby Kotick, fucking up all things Activision Blizzard. Todd, no, you gotta fire him, man. You gotta fire him. We can't fire him. Oh, fuck. And then all of a sudden, like, fast forward a year, Blizzard's got too comfortable, forgot that competition is a word, you know, and now they're getting fucking beat out. But again, I just thought it was interesting of what we thought this about a year ago and where we are now.
yeah, it definitely is interesting. Just kind of seeing that. Another thing that's interesting is BioWare being reduced significantly for them to quote unquote focus on some important titles coming out. Referring to the Dragon Age studio, BioWare looks like they cut their staff in half. Um, so less than, I guess, a little less than 100 employees. And let's see, it looks like a lot of those folks were working on Dragon Age Veilguard. Um, yeah, which is pretty wild. And then it says here, I won't read too much of this because, like I said, I wouldn't read a bunch of paragraphs this year. But it looks like a small team led by veteran employees is currently working on Mass Effect 5 and will likely expand its productions ramp up. So, looks like a blog posted by the general manager of BioWare, Gary McKay, confirmed the studio's restructuring following Dragon Age Veilguard, which I don't think made its I don't think it did as well as they wanted to. Surprise, surprise, huh? Uh, one thing I do, obviously, it does suck that people get laid off, but just the reality situation as far as Veilguard, we talked about time and time again why that game didn't work. But I will speak to you specifically, which I find interesting and is kind of newish that we haven't talked about really, as far as the veteran team from prior Mass Effects working on Mass Effect 5, actually taking it seriously again and not doing, some pandering nonsense. So I'm very curious if that is true or not, right? I mean, time and time again, I'll mention it every episode if I remember it. The save feature for Mass Effect, pulling over your character that you made all your decisions from one game over to the next, is still a revolutionary feature that I don't know why no one is copying that unless it's patented specifically by EA. I have no idea why. I'm worried a little bit. I can't say that I'm super excited doing backflips because like it sounds cool on paper, but Arthur, time and time again, we've been disappointed with what EA has been releasing, right? And then the agenda, and then also like just not really listening to people that give feedback, and just kind of writing people off. Like, I mean, they said, "Hey, keep an eye out for Battlefield announcements tomorrow," and I'm like, "No," it's like, me, no, no, thanks. I appreciate it, but no, So I feel like they have to earn a lot of people's trust back for those people that did like fuck with Inquisition, Dragon Age, or Dragon Age 2 in the prior Mass Effects, Mass Effect 3 and whatnot. It's just, I feel like EA, when it comes to those games that we held so closely to our hearts, They got it. They got to win us back here. They got to win us back here. But what are your thoughts as far as them working on Mass Effect 5 and having veteran employees work on it?
First thing they need to do to win us back, tell anyone that is not their fucking marketing team or social media managers to shut the fuck up. I'm just saying it. I'm just saying it. I'm sorry, but like I was going woo 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 to some of these people getting let off. I'm fucking sorry, dude. I'm over it. I'm over this fucking notion where I say, hey, the writing in this game's fucking bad. Oh, you're bloodist, you're hateful, you're blah blah blah. I'm just like, dude, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And here's again, and so I'm sorry. Like I'm sorry, not sorry, but when these same people, again, it's a job, dude. Like it's a job. Like if you make a product at your work and you're, either A, you're directly told, hey, by the way, only this department goes online and does blank, blank, blank. And you're like, well, I'm going to respond to these comments and tell them that, they should go, quote unquote, end themselves because they don't like this. Yeah, that's grounds to get you fucking fired. Now, was everyone fucking doing this? No, but it's just like I said, whether it's this game or other games like Ubisoft that wouldn't shut up about like how historically accurate this game's going to be, and they just keep doing more fucking around shit where it's like, damn, that selling point really is going to come back to bite them in the ass. Like I said, I stopped playing. Quick tangent, but like I stopped playing Assassin's Creed when all of a sudden like the Animus was like dealing with time traveling, dimensional aliens that were actually the angel that gave Adam the apple in the Garden of Eden. I'm like, what the fuck we're doing? I just want to stab rich people, dude. Like, what the fuck? And so again, so these developers, so the Ubisoft developers going like, no, it's historically accurate, historically accurate. It's like the most historical game we've ever fucking made, and all this shit happens. And again, to these developers that like, and here's the thing too, these are all like, I don't want to say third party sites, but it was like in comment sections or Reddit or blog posts where it's like their social media team, their marketing team was doing their job of like posting on Instagram, posting on social media, like official accounts, aka the Mark Wahlberg quote we call all the time. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm the guy that does your job. You must be the other guy. And so to not only be abrasive, but outright negative and insult your customer basis, well, it's like if you didn't like blank, then you therefore blank. Or like I said, the old notion that came up a few years ago when this AAA flop fest really started was like, well, if you don't like it, don't play it. Turns out they're fucking not. And so again, I think the very first thing that people need to do for anyone to even give a shit about or even trust that Mass Effect 5 is truly in better hands. I don't care what you call it. NDAs, have that annual HR contract. We've all been there. Hey, it's that time of year again. Everyone's signed the HR terms of service, what it means to be an employee here. And if you're not fucking part of the social media team, or if you're not part of the marketing team, get the fuck off the internet. Because that really bit them in the foot. How like people are coming out like, oh no, fuck you, you're this, you don't like this game, and we were talking about it. I'll be honest, we were talking about the game drastically more politely than the way the world was, the way the internet was talking about that game. Church brought up a really good point. Church was playing the game. Like Church played the game. He was a paying customer. And he was like, I fucking hate this game. Because he was saying how it's like there are what some people call divisive, but what we are calling sensitive topics, which is I think we can all, whether we want to call them divisive or not, I think minimally we mean in the middle say, yeah, sensitive topics, where he's saying like the dialogue is written as if you're a child and you talk to a child. Hey kids, if this, then this. But again, we won't go too much into like why the game failed. But again, I think the very first thing they need to do to get the public opinion or to get people like me that went all in that bought the Mass Effect Collector's Edition. I had the Steelbook bookcase we were talking about in our last stream where remember, Joel, we went nostalgic in our last stream. We are talking about Steelbook cases. Remember how Collector's Editions used to come with soundtracks, used to come with digital art books. During the Xbox 360 era, my avatar had the Omni Blade. My avatar had the Omni Blade from Mass Effect. And what's going to take a lot to bring a lot of customers back is just put the focus on the game. Tell your employees to get off the internet, get off social media, and just let the game speak for itself. We have not seen that in years from BioWare. I'm sorry, we have not seen that. That mantra of let the game speak for itself needs to be a leading point in a lot of the BioWare execs or a lot of, but let's be real, a lot of AAA gaming Western studios. Because what's happening is these games aren't speaking for themselves, their employees are speaking themselves. And whether these companies know it or not, their social media or marketing team may be like, hey, look at all these features. Look at this demo. Look at this gameplay. Or on the side, the developers are like, oh fuck you, you think this, fuck you, go for your family. Well, I'm not gonna buy your game now. I thought your game was a 6 out of 10, a 7 out of 10. Now I think your game now I want your whole studio to shut down. And that's why a lot of people, I'm sorry, of all the world, all the industry suck. We can point out unfortunately why a lot of people are minimally celebrating this one, because when you just go that negative and against and insultive against your customers, not only will your customers not buy your product, they'll clap as you're walking out the fucking door. These aren't new concepts. We're talking about the world of quote unquote toxic positivity, or as we like to call it, the old yes man circle jerk culture, because that's what it was back in the day, the old heads in the 90s. It was like, oh man, that's a circle jerk. That's a circle jerk executive room. What does that mean? That means someone had an idea that's clearly dumb or not great, but everyone's too fearful to say it's bad, like an Emperor's New Clothes situation. And then we defend it to that degree where you're gonna not only turn your customers away, insult them as they're walking out your store. Again, like I said, when you're walking the door and you shut the doors and you say close, or you're carrying your box, if you're carrying your box, if your office supplies out the door, guess what? They'll turn right back around and clap as you're fucking walking out. And it sucks. But again, that happened a lot with these developers. Did it happen with everyone? No, not at all. But as always, the loud few are more heard than the quiet majority. And that was the thing around this game. That was the unfortunate situation on this game. So when it comes to Mass Effect 5, as a guy, again, that bought all Mass Effects, that bought the collector's edition for 2 and 3, that's what I want to see for Mass Effect. I want to see more of this game. I don't want to see more of your developer stories. I don't. I want to know this. I don't know. I don't want to know. I don't care. Sorry. I don't care where your developer came from. I don't care. I just want to know if this game's good. I'm not going to pay anywhere from 70 to $100+ on a collector's edition out of the goodness of my heart because your developers experienced X, Y, and Z. No, no, we work hard jobs for our money, and I want to pay good money on a good game. And that needs to be the focus of Mass Effect 5. Let the game speak for itself.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, and especially on the end there, as far as let the game speak for itself. Because it, that to me, like the focus of the game itself, the quality of the game, what you do in the game, everything. Even though there might have been some good mechanics, everything else was washed away because of the rhetoric that they were pushing, and pushing back against people's feedback. It's like, you don't have to respond to everybody. You know what I mean? And then how you respond, like, you don't have to Talib Kweli them and call them, all these names or whatever, where it's like, well, where the hell did this come from? You know what I mean? So yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you on that. I don't mind hearing developer stories if the game you're working on is good and that's the focus, and it's not some ridiculous message that you're trying to be, you're trying to be PC, or you're trying to be for, for a certain populace, but you're ignoring the quality of the game. You can do both, or you can just make a good game and just have it be that. And then if there's things within it, then there's things within it. I like I said, in the last episode, I think, Neil Druckmann, like, obviously some of the games he's made has been controversial from a gameplay perspective, but I love the stories that are being told, because it's like, yeah, these folks are part of, LGBTQ plus, what have you, and they're, shit's going on and shit's fucked up, you know what I mean? But it's not like a weird monologue that's outside of the story doing the third, fourth wall Deadpool stuff. Like, it's not that kind of shit. It's just the story is the story. That's why I like Life is Strange, like especially Life is Strange 2. Like, there's a lot of crazy racist shit in the game, but it's making making a point because like the main two characters are like of Mexican descent or whatever, and like the kid has powers and like it's just a fucked up area, but they're not doing these like third wall monologues. You just, yeah, this shit's crazy and it's fucked up. Some of this shit really happens, but they're not making it a point to like, this is why you should do this. You know, like, no, they don't do it. They're just, yeah, they're in a racist area. You know what I mean? Like, this is one of those things. So when it comes to type of messaging, just put it in the fucking story and let the story be the story. Make it authentic. That's my thing. Make it authentic. It doesn't have to be a good guy wins thing. Just make it authentic. But then the most important thing, if the game is bad, none of that matters, right? The game has to be good. You know, focus on your core. Focus on what has made this series of what it's made it. So while I do think it's good that they do have veteran folks working on Mass Effect 5, I need to know where their focus actually is, right? I need to know, are they going to be making the game the way that it should be made? And you're right, games are getting more expensive. You know, we're tired of seeing this rhetoric stuff. Obviously, from a financial perspective, it's not meeting their expectations. Gee whiz, what does that mean, right? You know, so that needs to be had. I would like for them just to approach, like, that's the thing about BioWare, man. Like, they have some really great IPs. Like, dive into them. You know what I mean? Like, I know when it comes to, like, the Knights of the Old Republic, like, you know, I don't know if it's still being made or not, or if Microsoft can snag that and have that a part of their umbrella of all this shit. Like, make some fucking strategic moves, man. Like, that would be really fucking smart. And then obviously you can have that available everywhere else. You know what I mean? Because that's what they're doing now. Jade Empire. I think a new Jade Empire would be great. I think that would be awesome. You know what I mean? So it's just, they have the tools. It's just a matter of them really wanting to focus on, should we make a good game or should we just put some bullshit on top of it? You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's, I could understand you being on the side of like, you know what, like, it sucks there's layoffs, but this is what fucking happens when you want to push a ridiculous agenda that is dishonest, right? Dishonest, it's poorly done, it's not within a story, and it sacrifices gameplay and experience. I'm with you.
And if you replace this gaming star with anything else, like if we owned a bakery, Drill, and I was like, Drill, give me all this fucking money. Here's a cake. Is the cake good? Well, here's a story about the cake. Arthur, is the cake good? Okay, so here's the box the cake comes in. Arthur, is the cake good? Okay, so here's I'm gonna sell the cake. Arthur's the cake good? Drill, you know what? How much you're asking me about the quality of this cake? You know what? I think we need to have a long talk about who you are and who you are as my boss. Okay, fine, Arthur. Here's the money for the cake. And the cake, fuck. And now guess what? No one buys a fucking cake. And you've invested so much money into the marketing, the supplies, the infrastructure for this cake. And guess what? Guess what's gonna happen? Guess what's gonna happen after the next financial quarter? I'm not gonna fucking work at your bakery anymore, Drill. Ugh. No, I'm not. I'm sorry, but like that's you just remove the gaming part of it, and you just put in any other scenario in the workforce that the rest of us deal with. That's what happens. And here's the thing too, minus all that, like I said, minus the rhetoric, minus the narrative, now we're left with questions that need to be answered. First question, and if not first, one of the first questions that has to be answered that we've already talked about in our group chat a million times, Renegade. Can you be an evil character in Mass Effect again? Because here's the thing, Drell. Another reason, one of the reasons why Dragon Age failed, you couldn't be a villain, Drell. For the first time, I want to say for the first time in BioWare's RPG history, you couldn't roleplay. You couldn't be a villain. You couldn't be a Sith. You couldn't go negative. There was no true villain pathway. I got back into the Knights of the Republic remake because Artis Fartis needed to be a goddamn Sith Lord. And people that were playing Dragon Age, that's notorious for being bloody, notorious for being gritty, and letting you role play. That it's called an RPG. 2/3 of the acronym they fucking missed. I'm just sorry. It's just that's just how that's what it was. You couldn't role
Yeah.
play a villain. You can role play an annoying. You can role play someone that was annoying or quippy, but you couldn't role play a villain. So as someone that played Mass Effect multiple times to experience the good ending and the bad ending, what does Renegade look like? Like I said, Mass Effect 3 had a crazy off the wall legendary moment, whether you like it or not. We still talk about to this day, where you show up on the Citadel and there's some reporter just won't shut the fuck up. You see the RT prompt and you're like, man, fuck this, whoopah, and you fucking punch the reporter in the face.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Um, and so again, BioWare used to be the fucking pillar of role playing and choices in their RPGs. And in Dragon Age of the Veilguard, they removed the ability for you to be a villain. They removed the ability for you to be a bad person,
I didn't know
Jarrell.
they removed that entirely. That's
It
ridiculous.
you couldn't be you couldn't do anything. You can be like you can be quippy, but you couldn't be evil. There was no blood magic. There's no sacrifices. You were just this like they removed the RPG element. They removed the like I said, they removed the RP of the RPG, 2/3 of the fucking acronym. So for me, someone that plays Mass Effect multiple times for the good ending and the bad ending, I go good first, then bad. Um, what will Renegade look like? Jarrell, you speak of validly what is one of the great systems from the old Mass Effect was transferring your saves. Absolutely. For me, the other system that I liked was the Paragon Renegade system. How many of us remember playing Mass Effect 3 and seeing the LT for the Paragon? Ooh, Paragon moment. It was like a little quick time event during a cutscene. Or for those who are Renegade, that shit was, if you remember, Joe, that shit was referenced for years of like, oh, Renegade for life. You remember those shirts when back at GameStop? Renegade for life, baby. Let's fucking go. So can you be a villain and get in BioWare? Because we haven't been able to be a villain in the last what 3 games. We couldn't be a villain in Dragon Age. There was no RPG lore mechanic and Anthem. I'll give it a pass because that game really wasn't set up to do that. I don't know if you're able to be Renegade in Anthem, sorry, in Andromeda. I feel like the game wasn't popular enough or didn't hit enough for people to really talk about that, or at least still talk about that to this day. But again, BioWare used to have some of the best decision making, morale choices in gaming, and now we're down to okay, sure, fine, fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, it's funny too because, like, playing devil's advocate, it's like, well, there's plenty of role playing games where you can't play either or. They're still considered role playing games, but I think it's just different when you're doing it in a series that's meant for that or that was built for that, and that was the one of the biggest features, and then all of a sudden you take it away. It's like just call it a different game if you're gonna do that at that point. You know what I mean? So, and then especially with Mass Effect, I mean, I'll tell you right now, Arthur. I'll tell you right now, if there's no Renegade, I'm not buying it. I'm not
Facts.
buying it. I'm not downloading it on my console. It's going to take up space. I'm not even going to play it on Game Pass, even if I have Game Pass at that point. I'm not going to support it any way, shape, or form. It's just these people need to fucking learn, right? People need to learn. Like, bring back Renegade. Like, bring it back.
Dude, Drill, not only bring back Renegade, bring back being a villain.
Yeah,
Like
just
name
role
name
playing. Bring back real role playing.
like take and this problem isn't only to BioWare. Like name the last big Western RPG where you felt like you can play a villain that wasn't Baldur's Gate.
That's a fair point. I don't know.
Everything,
I'd have to look it
everything
up. That's
like
crazy. I would have to look it up because I don't know.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. This goes back to my old point of why Eastern games and Eastern developers are killing right now, and Western developers are shitting the fucking bed because they forgot what makes good story, what makes good games, what makes good, um, fucking villains. So not only have we not been able to be the villain, gaming hasn't had really good villains from the AAA Western developer side. It's all just been who's been a bad guy, who's been the bully, who's been the negative Nancy. Hmm. No, no. Fucking go balls to the wall. Fucking get Drell, what's his name? J.K. Simmons. J.K. Simmons voiced a villain in Baldur's Gate 3 like he fucking should. And how do you meet the guy? Oh, he's like, hey, is that a kid? I think that's a kid. Here, give me my axe. Whoopah! And you're like, that's how you introduce a goddamn fucking villain. I'm sorry, we didn't know, like, is that a kid? He's fat. I'm a bully. I'm a fat shamer. That's what makes me a villain. Ha ha ha. No, bring. I'm sorry. And when it comes to gaming, bring back my kid killing villains. Okay, it's just
Yeah.
like
I mean, and honestly, too, I seriously doubt that the new Fable, I doubt you could be a villain in that one either. Right? And if that's the case, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I'm not streaming it. I'm not doing like, yeah, like it's just the sake of you're removing an option of choice. Like that's literally what you're doing, and you know It's a fucking game. You know, like what are you doing? Like you're not. It's nothing honorable for removing that feature. Like that doesn't make any sense to me as a person who plays games and wants to choose different choices. Like it makes zero sense to me. So yeah.
This
If they continue that, sorry, if they continue that, I'm not supporting streaming wise, physical buying wise. Like you're not going to take up space on my hard drive. Sorry.
and it sucks because game journalism is circle jerking, sniffing the farts of these fans, sniffing the farts of these developers. Like, oh yeah, you can't be a villain, as it should be. Those farts smell so good, but I'm calling it now. Every single, I won't stop talking about this. I'm sorry because these are the same people in the media. In game journalism that called for people to lose their jobs, called for people to be reported off Twitch, called for people to be fucking removed from platforms. The same fucking people that called for this Hogwarts Legacy bullshit, I'm calling it a mouth fucking away, will be all over Grand Theft Auto's fucking dick. It's like, oh, you can't do this, you can't say this. The second they shoot a woman in that fucking game, I'll report them. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Because that's and again, so it's like these two things have been dancing around each other. You know what I mean? It's like these bad games coming out, bad writing, and then game journalism doubling down saying if you think these games are bad, you're part of the problem. Game developers saying if you think these games are bad, you're part of the problem. Oh, look, no one's reading your articles. I've blocked IGN from everything. I've blocked all these shitty articles from everything. Oh, look, no one's playing that Dragon Age Veilguard and EA. I'm sorry. Morales sound nice on Twitter. We all something we all know in the working world. We all know this shit. The second you fuck with the money, morals go out the fucking window. EA may seem like a nice company because they change their Twitter logo every February and June and some months. Guess what? The second you fuck with their paycheck, you are fucking gone. So, and
Yeah.
that's what happened. But again, like I said to Drill, I'll say this. I think a lot of people share the sentiment. I think of Mass Effect, which really pioneered the Paragon Renegade moral choice in modern day RPGs or RPGs of the last generation. I think you're absolutely right. I think if we get to like up until day one and we still haven't seen any gameplay or interviews or game directs or showcases about the moral choices of Paragon Renegade, they don't mention the word Renegade. They don't really mention that. I think a lot of people are gonna be the same shoe as you, and they're gonna fucking buy it, and they don't want anything to do fucking do with it. And I think that might be the last major nail in the quote unquote coffin in BioWare before they have a major overhaul internally.
Yeah. No, you're right, man. You're right because at that point, I think you're 100% right on the notion of we're going to see these developers or not developers, journalists that they want to shun, they want to insert their own opinion and shun people who play a bad character or whatever, but then Grand Theft Auto will get a 10 out of 10. I think it's amazing. It's just they're just riding a wave at that point. Like it's not even like it's just completely dishonest. They're just riding a wave. They don't really care whether you play a villain or not. They're just riding the wave of this weird, fake and toxic positivity and trying to create this notion of whatever thing. And yeah, it's just my circles are getting smaller when it comes to just different video game things that I watch now. Kind of funny is kind of on that chopping block for me too, to be honest. And it sucks because I used to watch, I used to watch Greg Miller stuff for like, I mean, ever since I worked at GameStop, even before then, but it's just ever since the Hogwarts thing, I said, oh, okay, this is a money thing. This isn't even about you really caring about the game and the developers that did a great job. If the game oversold Call of Duty that year, you made a business decision over the right decision as far as for supporting those developers. I can't side with you on that. Sorry, everything is blocked on my end. You know what I mean? So it's just, I'm tired of seeing that notion. You know what I mean? So it's just, Jason Schreier, thank God for him, man. I mean, I feel like he's one of the last real ones. He delivers the real information for what's going on. And he doesn't try to ride a wave. He's just telling you this is what's going on, man. You know what I mean? So, I definitely appreciate all his antics. But yeah, it's just, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So yeah, I'm very curious to see how people react to Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out bit by bit. Very curious. I know we talked about it already, and everyone else started to talk about it too. As far as, well, Grand Theft Auto will be $100, because the Take Two CEO is a piece of shit, So very curious to see that. They're obviously doubling down. It's not going to be on PC when it comes out. I guess I'm not playing GTA 6 when it releases. Whatever, you know what I mean? Like I'm kind of sad at one point, but then on the other end of the spectrum, I mean, unless the PS5 is on sale, if the PS5 is on sale for $400 or for 350, maybe. But
It's not off the table. It won't be with the PS5 Pro out. The odds are
that's
low,
true.
but not
That's
zero.
true. Yeah, if it's like 300, then I'd be like, okay, maybe. You know what I mean? Possibly.
Hey, watch it because in the phone's listening on you. It's like fuck it. Best Buy sale, PS5.
I know. I'm gonna get all these
Um,
ads now.
the semi staying on the point of GTA 6, our current
Yeah.
topic drill.
Yeah.
Do you think? I wonder if there was a side quest in GTA 6 that lets you help the cops, so Kotaku won't review the game.
And GameSpot, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hilarious, bro. Yeah, that's hilarious.
I'm yeah, same thing. Expect a rant. Expect a rant or me calling out bullshit. Hey, I'm not perfect, but I'm good at sniffing out fucking bullshit. And I'm calling it now. If there is a side quest in GTA 6 that lets you help the cops and Kotaku and GameSpot and all these dumb pandering fucking bullshit artists, that will have nothing to do with Cyberpunk 27 side quests because you can help the cops play this side quest in this game. Yeah, expect a rant from me calling out their goddamn bullshit.
That'd be hilarious if they even had an achievement, just kind of eating up that sentiment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Help the cops, you know what I mean? It's because like they know that like these journalists are gonna be like, oh yeah, 10 out of 10.
If Rockstar, dude, if Take Two, real quick, Take Two can almost do no wrong right now. I'm sorry, you'll just call it is. Like GTA 6 is about to have like an income more than, as we discussed, some countries' fucking GDP. That's a fact. They can almost do no wrong. Drill, I would almost offer to like pay maybe like $1,000 to Take Two to be like, do me a favor. If there's a side quest or a quest line that has you helping the cops, name the first achievement after the game journalist that didn't play the side quest in Cyberpunk 2077. Name the achievement after her. I would pay money. I would
That
pay money
would
to
be hilarious.
have that achievement named after her.
That would be hilarious. Yeah, I'm curious, man. I mean, it's they got everybody by the balls, bro. It's crazy. Take Two has everybody by the balls right now, and I mean, it's crazy because a lot of people. I mean, I don't know if it's a lot of people, but a decent amount of people are pretty upset about this potential $100 cost for the game. But they're gonna buy it. You know what I mean? Like if you have the console, like I mean, unless you like stand on your nuts, like how we usually do, like they're gonna fucking buy it anyway.
Here's how everyone's group chat's gonna look like. Fuck, man, it's $100. God damn, they're fucking assholes. Then one person's gonna ask, "You gonna buy it?" I mean, that shit.
You know
I
what I
mean, it's
mean?
GTA 6, bro. Like again, I'm not. Here's the thing. I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm not saying whether you're yes or no. There's no wrong. I'm just saying we get it. We get it. Whether you want to buy it or you don't want to buy it, we get both fucking sides. We get it. I'm just saying it. Just again, like if anyone's group chat like us, it doesn't reflect the group chat of any fucking gaming homies out there. It's exactly how it's gonna go. Someone's like, God, fuck, it's $100. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna buy it. I mean, shit. Like, I can't not buy it,
Right.
man. Do you be crazy? No, never mind. It passed. It passed. In a wild turn of events, let's say hypothetical, it's technically the window is because we don't even have the window, right? All we know is 2025. We don't even know what like quarter,
I
right?
thought it was fall, but
Fall. Okay, fuck.
yeah.
I was gonna say it'd be crazy, like stop the economy crazy if they just fucked over every relationship and every marriage and you like fuck it GTA 6 drops February 14th. You ain't going fucking nowhere. Like,
I want them to release promo commercials like that. I think that would be just the hardest shit. That would be hilarious. You know, have some comedians or whatever be like actors in commercials promoting GTA 6 being
like
husbands.
the
They're like, yeah.
like the OG Call of Duty, like the OG Call of Duty commercials. They do
Oh
act.
yeah.
So no, I was saying, Gerald, no, it'd be crazy. No, I was saying it'd be crazy if they announce that GTA 6 is coming on February 14th, Valentine's Day. That's what I was saying. It'll be
Oh
fucking
shit.
nutty. There'll be a million TikToks, and it's like, hey, girls, asking the rest of you, is is canceling Valentine's Day plans for a video game grounds for divorce? Question mark. Will be like one of the top 5 searches in the country overnight. Or yeah, I mean, or like, should I get mad for my boyfriend just canceled our Valentine's Day plans for GTA 6? Should I be
Yeah.
mad? Again, top blank search, top 5 search overnight in the United States
I
for
have,
sure.
I have a prediction, Arthur, that some of the things that are going to be happening near that time frame. I think traffic is going to die down, like car traffic's going to die down. At least obviously on in these parts, the traffic's going to die down.
Video games good for the environment. We're calling it now. Go ahead.
Gas prices are going to go down.
Good
I
for the
think
economy.
good for the economy,
Back,
right?
back you up.
So and that's less pollution, right? As far as like less cars, so
Yep.
less
Yep.
pollution, so
Yep.
less pollution.
Doubling down on lowering carbon footprint. I got you. I
Yeah,
got you.
and
I got.
there will be a vast rate of vacation requests around that time frame as well, like
And
countrywide.
an increase to mental health in the workplace.
So those are my three. Those are my three predictions where there will be specific articles talking about like this is hasn't been this much since this like we're gonna see those three things reduce
I
during fall
want
of this year.
I want someone will. I want someone to make a video. You're absolutely 1,000% right. I want someone to make a video of like what the 405 or what the 710 freeways in Southern California will look like the day after.
Like COVID, bro.
The Saturday, the Saturday after GTA 6 comes out. Let's say GTA 6 comes on Tuesday. The Saturday that shit comes out. I want to see like just Google traffic. You know what I mean? Because you're right. That shit was like COVID. People were like having their quote unquote passengers make videos while driving on like the 405, which is normally like a 5-lane parking lot 2 ways at like 3 p.m. on a fucking Wednesday. And all of a sudden it's like there's only 3 cars in the fucking road, dude. Like yeah, it's just I can't wait. I can't
It's
wait
gonna be good.
for all the things that GTA 6 are bringing us. And like I said, overnight, not overnight, but I think we're going to start to see one more thing, Drill, too, to add to your list.
Mm.
It won't be a solidified, but I think we're going to start to see a decline in the mainstream. I don't want to single out. I don't want to
I
single
know.
out women.
I already
No,
know
no,
what
no.
you're gonna say.
I don't want to single out. I don't want to single out like women talking down games because we know there is a massive community of women gamers. But I think we're going to see a semi shift in the conversation or a narrative that, like video games are for kids, or if you're a man plays video games, he's just an inner child. If you get married, you'll just be his mom. You know what I mean? I think we'll see a positive shift or decline in those narratives of like top 5 worst hobbies a man can have, video games. And all of a sudden, like shit, last time I checked from our list drill, we are saving the environment and we are helping the economy. You're fucking welcome.
Right, right.
Like,
And where are those marketing ads, right? Like, where are the
yeah.
marketing ads combating against people that think that games are for kids still, and you're weird if you play video games if you're like an older person? Like, where are those marketing ads combating that? I feel like that used to be a thing like early 2000s, and then
It was a
obviously
badge.
this
It
shit.
was a badge of honor. Do you remember the old
Yeah,
school PS2 commercial where kids were flexing their blistered thumbs? Do you remember that commercial where kids were in the gym and like
I
flexing
think so.
how big their fucking blistered thumbs were from playing those PS2? Like that's just also the era of our world. Like nowadays, if the Nintendo console gave you blisters, that'd have a lawsuit. Back in that day, that was a badge of honor. Oh fuck, you only got one
Right.
blister, you a bitch. Like oh, you only got one blister, one thumb. Nah, you ain't doing nothing. You would
That
nothing. And like
huge
I
ass
said, that
Xbox
thumb,
controller, bro. Like,
it
oh
was
my god.
all of them did it, but I remember this was specifically in the actual like PS2 ad. Like that was just the day back in the day. Like, hey, here's a thing that's gonna give your kids blisters, and they're gonna fucking love it. It was just like, oh, like, and then some kid had like, some cartoonish, huge like air gusher fucking size, fucking blister of a thumb. Or like, oh, dude, that's the king of the playground right there. Like we're fucking respects to that guy. And that's just how it was. So again, so we went from that to like, oh yeah, your man has a hobby. What a loser. And but like, hey, site tangent hot take. Can I just say something from looking from the outside in?
Yeah, go for it.
I think I think the number of pollutants, or at least plastic waste, would drastically decline if 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 a lot of people or a certain segment of the population, I'm not gonna say who, you can fill in the gap, wouldn't shop at Target while bored. I think there's an entire genre of like storage stuff that only exists because it looks cuter than the existing storage thing that exists. Like it's like, here's your cereal. No, 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 no. Cardboard. No, we can't have fucking cardboard. Let's have plastic, cased in plastic, but it has a label. But because it has a label in a really nice Times New Roman font that says cereal and it's sold in Target next to the Stanley Cups, it's Demure. I don't know why. I don't know. I just feel like there's so much of a
You
waste
lost
of
me.
shit. Here's I think there's so much shit. What I'm saying is I think there's so much of a like, it's like a, I think from the inside to outside in, there's a whole genre of Target shit that's just a plastic case with a label. It's like, hey, what's wrong with the cereal box? Well, it's not in plastic. There's no label that says cereal. I'll just call it Israel. It may be a bored white woman thing. That's just giving some context there. But like, oh, how will we know where to place all of our peanuts? There's no plastic jar that says peanuts on it. Well, it comes in a peanuts jar. Yeah, but it doesn't look nice. I don't know. It just I feel like every now and then I found myself in Target just like a plastic cylinder with a lid on that says peanuts. I'm just like, but it comes when you buy peanuts, it comes in a thing that says peanuts. And I don't know. I don't know. I think talking about now your algo there might get filled with it now, but it's a thing. It's like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there's some
You
people
mean
there.
just like weird marketing that's like
No,
plain, but
like weird household kitchen storage containers that only exist because they're slightly cuter than the storage container that food product comes in, and it has a label. Like I'm
mm,
telling you, Joe, there's a whole fucking business around this. There's like a whole fucking business around buying your cereal box, taking it home, open the cereal box, open the bag, pouring the whole thing out into another container you to buy at Target that looks nicer. It's usually clear with a white lid or a black lid, but it looks nicer because there's a label that says cereal on it, or like peanuts or candy or chips. Like I said, I'm telling you, there's a whole industry around this. Someone goes to the store, buys their
but I was
chips,
just tired of
open the
Grand Theft
chips.
Auto 6. That's why
Listen,
I listen to me.
oh, I'm saying because it's a waste of plastic and bad for the environment.
Oh, okay, okay.
See, we buy our shit digital. No, we buy our shit digital and we stay home. We don't go outside and waste gas and pollute Mother Gaia by going to Target and buying bullshit. Nope, we're saving the environment.
Right, right. I mean, unless you're going out to buy the physical version for if you have old PS5 or something, but
It was
man,
like
just stay
old. It was
home and
like,
download
yeah.
it. Like, why waste gas?
It's like the old Velcro sneakerhead. Hey, you could just do that at home, right? Yeah, I know, but I like going to a parking lot in Long Beach where I might get stabbed, and I like waiting in line where the store is understaffed and someone's screaming and there's a homeless guy playing the demo system over there. I'd rather do that. And I'd rather drive home, hope there's parking in my house, depending what city I live in, like Long Beach. Oh, fuck, I parked 2 blocks away. Oh, let me get home and let me just now start installing this fucking 100 gigabyte game because no one compresses games anymore. Yeah, don't do that.
Right, right, exactly,
But yeah, I'm just
exactly.
saying, it's just like you don't have to, you could avoid all that now. Just like I'm like helping you, I'm leaving you. Like you no longer have to do that.
Yeah, yeah. People haven't done that in almost 20 years now. It's like just download it, just download it. Yeah, man. Well, I think that's gonna wrap it up here for the show. Any lasting things you wanted to talk about? gaming wise or what have you. Obviously, we're so for next week, it shouldn't be a surprise. It'll be a bye week of Super Bowls next week. So,
Oh yeah, we
um,
more
we ain't
brats
go
and beer for Arthur.
right, right.
um, Kind of on the sentiment of not as major in terms of numbers, but on the sentiment of Dragon Age, Ubisoft shut down one of their London studios. Um,
Oh yeah, and then they had some kind of like cryptic shit that they posted as far as like Splinter Cell or something like that, right? They're like,
it was
check it out? Question
out.
mark.
Yeah, I don't know, via social media post, which is I would
Mm,
say is a good social media post because now we're talking about it. And
mm.
this might be the first time I think we've ever talked about Ubisoft social media is because now they've hinted at like they've sent this cryptic. They put an ad about Splinter Cell, and we're like, oh, you remember that IP exists? No way, get the fuck out of here. But similar to BioWare and Dragon Age, Veilguard, Ubisoft had some couple layoffs. Ubisoft closed down its London office, affecting 54 people. The studio shut down part of its efforts to enhance efficiency and streamline operations, aka they needed money. Um, but now here's the other thing too, Jarrell. That's unfortunate. Other Ubisoft games, including Splinter Cell Conviction and Trials Evolution, will be affected by the shutdown. The company has decided to close a number of subsidiaries in Europe. So
Hmm.
we don't know if we don't know if we don't know. So shutting down a studio that was affecting that game and then putting a weird social media post about that game, a lot of people are hinting at a remake, maybe, though it'll be wild to fire the people that worked on it and then hire somebody else in the company to pivot to remake it when you could have used the same people you just fired to remake it. So it just very weird timing. Is like, hey, we're gonna shut down the studio. What games did they make? Splinter Cell Conviction. Fuck. 2 days later, put out a random trailer about Splinter Cell, even though we haven't talked about Splinter Cell in decades. So it was just weird timing. We don't know if also it was just a bad publicity because I think the timing of it is the game was on sale, but games go on sale when studios get shut down. So we don't know. Like we don't know. We don't know if the game was advertised because there's a publisher sale. Like because game like hardware stores, video games also have a quote going out of business sale. That's why Suicide Squad's cheap. That's why other games got
Yeah,
cheap too.
yeah.
So video games have a going out of business sale. So we don't know if the social media post showing Splinter Cell was in reflection to the sale because the company's going out of business, be it because it's just getting shut down, or if it's like a weird cryptic thing about a remake. I lean towards the fact that the game was on sale and they give a shit about the reason why it went on sale, so they put it in their social media. That's where I'm leaning towards. Like it's like quote
Hmm.
unquote going a business sale.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. I mean, I guess just yeah, kind of talking about just like update things with Ubisoft. I'll give them a slight credit as far as some of the gameplay, and obviously we don't know until it officially releases, but some of the gameplay was looking good for Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? So like I give them kudos for that. So, I'm just hoping the game's good. Um, and then I would like Division 3 to be good without it being, as far as like you got to do this whole map again and it's the same thing. Like I hope they veer away
That
from that.
sucked.
You know what I mean?
Like
So,
to give you guys context, Victor and I didn't even buy the game. We had that shit on Game Pass. We were playing this shit not in quote unquote for free, but via the service, right? And the second they said, "Hey, do it all again but harder," like, "Hey, you got to the end of the marathon. Now turn back and go back." Also, now there's like pitfall traps. We both were like, "Dude, it's a Friday at like 7 p.m. I'm I feel like we beat the game because also too lore wise, drill or like thematic, like storyline wise, that whole thing came out of nowhere. Like it came out of fucking nowhere. Like we thought we beat the game, and we're like, oh, I'm good. Are you good? Yeah. So it takes a bit for two people to stop playing a fucking free game halfway through. Um,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah,
but
true.
hey, but by the way, Drill, there was a Easter egg mention of Sam Fisher in the Division Two. He was a journal. Um,
Oh,
but that was it. No, that was no gun, no night vision goggles, nothing.
mm,
Um, but yeah, I will add too to the Assassin's Creed gameplay. That settlement building mechanic, that was cool. Had
Yeah.
a it kind of looked like like a Sims, or like I'm playing Planet Coaster. It kind of just reminded me of like, hey, build your town, build your sentiment. That was cool. Like I said, players like choice, and
Yeah.
like now for those that are simpler, I hope there's a template of just like I don't give a shit. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I mean, it's like I freed a settlement, but now you can like customize it. That's a new feature. So I will give props to Ubisoft doing something new. Um, Ubisoft is really considered doing new things unless it involves the words NFT. But I will agree with you. I will say that the gameplay from we saw looked better. I will add, as an old head, as an OG guy, it does feel weird to see levels and health bars in an Assassin's Creed game. I know that's been a norm for a while, but when I see a guy shoot a musket to someone's head and they survived just because they're a higher level dude, I don't I don't like it. That happened to me in Far Cry New Dawn. I beat Far Cry 5. Love that game. What Far Cry 5, top 10, one of my top 10 games. If we do a new top 10 list, Far Cry 5 is not on that list. I beat the game 3 times. I fucking love it. But Far Cry New Dawn, that was one of the game where they started doing the whole level, like enemies have levels and gears have levels. So it was just weird to like see someone get shot in the head, point blank range, and be like, this, by the way, this is playing Far Cry New Dawn. I have a pistol shooting someone in the skull, point blank range, while being sneaky, and they didn't die. And now the whole outpost knows where I am because my gun was too low level to one shot a human being at point blank range. And I was like, I'm over it. I fired one goddamn bullet with that new system. I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm not playing a Ubisoft game. I'm not playing a Ubisoft game where I can't point blank a pistol guy to the head with one shot and they survive because they're quote a high level. Nope.
Yeah.
So I know it's been there for a while, but that turned me off that leveling system. I'm good.
Yeah. It's interesting too, obviously Splinter Cell, it would be nice if they fucking made it, but I don't even know if it would be good at this point, but we'll see. But the other thing I was gonna say was for Ubisoft, they had a sale recently for a couple of games for like $1. So like the
Yeah.
South Park Stick of Truth, you're putting a game on that. And then I saw that Watch Dogs was also $1. I said, oh hell yeah, I'll do that. But they make it so weird and cryptic to download like the Ubisoft application, and I'm like, it's really annoying. I'm just like, why are you guys making it difficult for me to download this? Because you want me to subscribe to like X, Y, and Z? Like, it's really poorly designed as far as for the PC application. So part of me is like, well, fuck it. I don't even want to download it if you guys are going to be doing this shit, So I'm like, just make it easy to download and play it. It's like, oh, we're going to log in. You got to log in again. You got to log in again. I'm like, what the fuck?
Did you buy the South Park game for $1?
Yeah.
Honestly, drill, real shit, real talk, just for the sake to experience it, not even just for the sake to truly experience its scripting. My recommendation: put that shit in easy, play through it. It's just the longest South Park episode you've ever seen. It's hilarious, start to finish.
Yeah, I heard it's yeah, because I always remember Ryan McCaffrey saying like that was the one game that he was like in tears laughing, like because it was
Hilarious.
so goddamn funny. I was like, oh man,
Both
yeah,
both games are great. I would say because of the success of Stick of Truth, they're able to go more balls to the wall with their humor, and Fractured Butthole, not only with its title, but that's the game Butthole. People think it's Stick of Truth, Fractured Butthole. That's the one that had the difficulty slider of the race.
oh okay, right on, right on,
By the way, they tell
yeah,
you. By the way, they tell you you can still be a black guy, but they tell you this isn't fake gameplay. Just every other aspect of life.
yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It was funny. Yeah, and then like I wouldn't mind playing Watch Dogs 1 again, but it's just I just wish they didn't make it so fucking weird to download and re-sign in, make it difficult for me to play like the shit that I fucking paid for. But anyway,
Signing into an account for a single player game is fuck bullshit.
like if it was that difficult on Steam, I would have as many as many games that I purchased on Steam. Like Steam makes it easy. It's like, okay, just log in, you do an authenticator thing once, and that's it, you're good. Just fucking be online and click it and it opens up, So I'm just like, come on, Ubisoft, be better. But
You're asking a lot.
They need
Ubisoft
to,
be
yeah,
better? You're
that's a
asking me a
big
lot,
ask.
Darrell. You're
Yeah,
asking me a lot.
I just saw that. I said they probably won't be better.
No. It's like, who are we talking about? Be better. Ooh, I don't know if they know what that second word means. Be disappointing. They can nail that.
Yeah, yeah. All right, well, we'll leave it there here for the Games for Life podcast. Once again, every other Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, discussing all things games. I'm one of your hosts, Jarrell. With me is my co-host, Arthur Thomas.
Take it easy. Enjoy the Super Bowl, everybody.
Exactly, exactly. And go, Eagles, right?
I'm going for it's either go for one of the worst fan base in the NFL or go for the refs. So I'm going for the Eagles. Fuck it.
There we go. All right, guys. We'll catch you next time.